Hello pilots and welcome back to Flying with OverKill F-16C Viper, and today we're going to be going over startup, taxi, and takeoff after a few corrections and a real quick commentary from our sponsors. So real quick guys, I want to make sure that everyone understands what you're getting from my channel. I've said this before, but I want to make sure to make it clear again. With my channel, you are not going to get in-depth, straight from the text, full F-16, F-18, whatever aircraft I'm doing, documentation proof information. Okay, you're going to get the information that I've extrapolated from the documentation and the information that I found that works. I know I do not follow all the policies, protocols, and procedures that are involved with anything that I do in these jets. I may come close, but if I do, it's just because my way was probably the way they designed it to work like that. My goal again in this channel was to reduce reduce the learning curve for new people joining into DCS who have maybe a passion for aviation, or maybe want to step up from something from like ace combat and get into something more realistic, and hopefully then, you know, light a spark. You know, I mean, DCS is what lit the spark for me to start going for my pilot's license. So you know, we each take something different from it. You have your hardcore mill simmers who know these aircraft through and through, and that's fantastic. You know, you have your average gamers who want to step into something a little bit more realistic, and DCS is a platform that provides something for them too. You know, it really does have a little bit of something for everybody depending on what you're looking for, and I think that's perfectly fine. You know, and I want you guys to think that's okay too. You know, at the end of the day, you know, we're each our own people, and we can pull what we want from it. You know, it's a large community, and I guarantee you're going to find people who think just like you do. And by the way, this is not meant to be in any negative connotation. I had a wonderful conversation with somebody over the weekend, and it just got me thinking that, you know, maybe I should just remind people of what to expect from my channel. That way I don't waste anybody's time. You know, I don't want you guys wasting time watching my videos, you know. But what I have found in the past is if I make the videos too long and I include too much information, then people don't watch them, you know, and that defeats the purpose at the end of the day. You know, I don't want to just pump out videos for no one to watch them because they're too long and too detailed, and someone has to cipher through, you know, 40 minutes of information to get to something they needed 3 minutes of information for. You know, and it's just, I want to make sure that I set the expectation for my channel. I'm not looking to make big money. I'm not doing this just for the subscriber count. You know, I mean, to give you guys an idea, I'm at just shy of 2,000 subscribers now, and I haven't made a dime off YouTube. And, you know, I don't care if I really ever do. I mean, you know, there are certain people who keep pushing me to do the whole membership thing, and you know, I finally put up a PayPal link on some of the videos if anyone's interested in donating. You know, I mean, yeah, yeah, and that's the other thing is that, you know, a 20-minute video sometimes can be actually 4 to 6 hours of work depending on, you know, what the context is and how much editing's involved and mission planning and testing and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, how many times I trip over my own tongue and have to restart because I drive myself crazy. But anyway, I don't want to go into too much detail about it, but I wanted to make sure everyone understood what I'm trying to do. You know, I'm not trying to be the DCS answer to all problems. I'm trying to make sure that my information is accurate, you know, as possible, and I will provide a couple of corrections tonight to some of the things that I had said in the cockpit tour that were incorrect. And I do value that kind of information, absolutely, but as far as the explanations of how everything works as I'm going through it, probably not going to happen. I may not know it because I don't devote that time. You know, I still have work, family, kids, you know, and other hobbies, you know, that, you know, I want to use my time accordingly. You know, a perfect example is I pre-ordered the supercarrier, guys. So I owned it before it was actually released, and last week was the first time I've ever taken off from it. So to give you an idea on how often I truly get to get up and fly, you know, and just mess around, it's not near as often as I would like. It's truly not. So anyway, and I'm not saying that to make you guys feel guilty or anything like that. Please don't think I'm trying to, like, you know, play the world's smallest violin. I'm totally not. I love what I do. I love the videos I put out. I've been loving the commentaries lately. You know, the thumbs up, the great job comments. You know, you guys are really filling me with a lot of motivation, you know, and I enjoy the hell out of it. I do. I'm glad that people are finding, you know, use out of this. I do IT for a living because I love helping people. I truly do. You know, I work direct customer support, you know, and I love it. But anyway, I won't keep carrying on. I just wanted to make sure I had that out there. So without further ado, I'm going to shut my trap with that crap. The sponsor is over, and let's get into the cockpit and start seeing how to start this bird the OverKill way. All right, so jumping right into it, the first thing that I'm going to do is come over here and take our main power switch. And let me, you know what, I know it's a little dark out, so let's bring up the flashlight for a second. Here's our main power switch. I'm going to go ahead and flip that into the middle position for the battery. Then I'm going to bring on our lights here. Anti-collision, we're going to make sure that the position light is in the flash position when starting and taxiing. All right, and then we're going to come over here to our JFS, or jet fuel system, and we're going to switch it down to the start 2 position. And that's the first correction I need to make. I said in the cockpit tour that we would use start 1, and that was honestly just me being tired and not paying attention. It's totally the start 2 position. We're going to be waiting for the run light. Once we get a run light, we're going to come over here to our engine gauge and look for 20 RPMs, or 20% on the RPMs. And then we're going to take our throttle and get it out of the cutoff position, put it into idle with right shift and home. Okay, come back to over here to our RPMs, and at 55% we should see the JFS switch back to the off position. At 65% we're going to be at idle, and we should see the inlet temperature settle down about 400 degrees. So we're watching, there's the JFS to center, and looking for that 65%. Right about there, and looking for 400. And actually I missed a step, by the way, guys. As soon as I had the battery, we should have had the parking brake on, so that was a fail on my part. All right, so next thing we're going to do is take our power switch and push it forward into main power, and that will bring the aircraft to life, bring up all our consoles and systems. All right, and we're going to come right over here to our right side and start turning on the systems here. So the first thing we're going to do is the main mission computer, our station stores power, and then our or store station power, you guys know what I meant, MFDs, our UFC, upfront controller, and the GPS for now. And then we're going to come here, and you have 2 different forms of alignment. Okay, you have the store heading, which is about a 2-minute alignment process, and then we have the norm. I'm going to go ahead and go through the norm today, and I'll walk you guys through that. So we're going to switch that to the norm position. We're going to come up here to the DED here, and let's see if I can get in a little bit closer here. Let's zoom in a bit. There we go. All right, and so what we need to do is we need to verify that these coordinates are correct. So really quickly, because you want to try to get this done within the first 2 minutes, or the your alignment can be degraded. So we're just going to click this arrow up here when we get to the F10 map, and it'll lock us on our aircraft, and then zoom in. And let's get to the satellite view. I hate that. There we go. Click on that guy right here, and what you're looking for is the precise waypoint coordinates. So that's going to be degrees, minutes, and decimal minutes. So it's going to be a 3-digit decimal is what you're looking for, and we're just going to match these up. 4155.7, back to the cockpit. 4155.7, go ahead and hit enter, and then dauber down, and let's check the latitude, or longitude, excuse me, and we're looking for easting of 4152.2, 4152.2, enter, and dauber down. And I don't think we need our flashlight anymore. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. That thing is super bright. There we go. All right, and just enter down. I don't know if you have to do anything else. I think it's just the longitude and latitude, but I always hit enter on the altitude anyway. So real quick while we're waiting here, so here's our INS quality, the alignment quality, and what we're looking for is we're looking for a 06. For these last 2 digits that are counting down, we're looking for 06, and it will say ready. Okay, so there's the ready. Okay, but this is the quality. So this is basically poor quality. It is aligned, but not great quality. What you're looking for is 06 and ready when in the norm INS alignment. In the next tutorial, we'll do the startup one more time, and I'll show you guys the stored heading. Okay, but I don't want to confuse anyone right now. So you're looking for 06 ready when the INS alignment is in the norm position. All right, then you have your altitude to sea level, you have your true heading, and we have our ground speed. We'll be using this for taxi. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and flip our backup radio on here. Okay, and then we have the power on the RWR. We can power on the countermeasure system. Okay, so we're going to turn the RWR countermeasures on and the jammer. Set the system to standby, activate our chaff and flare. Alright, and then we can come over here and set the radar altimeter to standby. We don't want to put it on yet as it's inhibited while on the ground. And then our fire control radar. All right. Let's see, what am I missing here? Just sort of doing a flow here for a second. I think we got everything back there. We're good there. Let's come back here. Set our IFF to the norm position. We can go ahead and press the master caution light and then reset the caution system with this little white button here. There we go. We should be clear of any cautions. Alright, we have seat not armed, and that's perfectly fine. We'll arm that before we get to the runway. Now, we are going to be doing a Category 3 takeoff. So Category 3 is going to restrict the input on the stick to keep us from basically over-pulling or over-maneuvering the aircraft on takeoff with a heavy load on the aircraft. Basically trying to prevent us from stalling the aircraft and sliding back onto the ground into a burning ball of fire. So anytime you either have a air-to-ground loadout or the tanks, you're going to want to go to Cat 3. Okay? Alright, let's see, what else are we at here? So we got the fire control radar on. Oh, we can uncage our standby ADI. So we're just going to keep rolling this forward until it uncages. So you saw the red flag go away. And then just roll it to the horizon line. Now, one of the other corrections I need to make right off the bat while we're sitting here waiting for our alignment, I said that this was the standby gauge instrument or standby instrument panel. They are not. These are the primary gauges, as the HUD, the heads-up display, has no way of telling you if there's a fault with the system or a problem with the system. So the HUD should be used as a tool to reference the gauges down below. Okay, you always want to confirm that what you're seeing on the HUD is accurate with the gauges below. If not, the HUD is the problem. Okay, speaking of the HUD, let's go ahead and take this symbology light, and we're going to go ahead and scroll it up to your comfort level, and it can go super bright. Okay, so keep that in mind, and if you'd like, you can do the same thing with the HMD, the helmet mounted display. I would start out very, very lightly, as this is it barely turned on. Okay, I'm not going to use it for right now, so I'm going to turn that back off. Let's see, what else am I missing? I'm just trying to do a flow here, double check myself. We have our comm radio volumes up. They're already set to squelch by default. Our lights are set where I want them to. Oxygen is set. Our pitot heat, which is back over here in the back left, will turn on just before we get to the runway. Alright. And oxygen is on and flowing. Engine anti-ice we don't need right now. It's in the auto position. Alright, I'm going to say that we are good for now. Now, you have your left and right hardpoint powers. The right hardpoint is going to be used if you have a TGP on the right cheek station, and the left hardpoint would be used if you had the harm targeting pod on the left cheek station. I know it's not called the harm targeting pod, I just can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but it's for the harm. Alright, let's see if I'm missing anything else. I think we're golden. Now we're just waiting. Taxi light. Now, ideally, you should turn the taxi light on before you start taxiing, but check this out. This thing is ridiculous. Boom! Okay, you're going to light up half of New York with that thing. And what's funny is actually I think the landing light's almost better. At least it's more focused. But anyway, it's up to you. I tend to leave it off just because it's so bright. It's pretty hard on the eyes right now. Hopefully that's something that ED is going to look at. Alright, so as I'm going on here, we can keep making a couple of corrections. In the previous tutorial, I stated that this was the nuclear consent cipher switch, and that is incorrect. It is just the plain cipher switch, and what it allows you to do is to encrypt the UHF and VHF transmissions. This red guarded switch here is the nuclear consent switch, so which would make sense since it's guarded. Alright, so that was another mistake that I absolutely was just totally incorrect about, and same thing with the gauges here. One of the questions that actually a buddy asked me just tonight, so just so you guys are aware, to increase the brightness of the AHSI, okay, the electronic horizontal situation indicators, you can see that's pretty dim, okay, and just by scrolling anything, it doesn't do anything. So what you have to do is left click, hold it, holding left click, and then scroll forward. Oops, I don't think I left clicked and held it. There it goes. Alright, okay, and that's how you increase the brightness or decrease it on it. So you have to left click and hold. While holding, move your mouse wheel forward. And let's see here, what else we got. I'm feeling a little tall today, so I think we're gonna bring the seat down just a hair. There we go, that's better. Alright, so we're almost aligned. Getting close here. Probably got about another 2 minutes or so. Take a quick peek and see if there's anything else. I guess we can go ahead. Hopefully it's not too loud for you guys. I didn't even think about it. I have the volume on the sim turned down when I do my recordings typically. We can go ahead and close the canopy with the switch sort of hiding back there. Wait for it to lock, and then use our spider lock. Alright. Alright, did a pretty quick flow there. Like I said, the only thing, FYI, before you start the engine, you should be engaging the parking brake. It's pretty crucial, especially if you accidentally push the throttle forward. The thing to remember about the parking brake is any power setting over 85%, the parking brake will automatically release. So keep that in mind as well. Alright, so we're just waiting here. Oh, there we go. So there, we got the 06 ready. You see the align flashing up here. So now what we got to do is take our INS knob, our rotary, and turn it over to nav, and we are ready for taxi. Alright. Like I said, normally, yes, you should absolutely be turning on your taxi light here at this point, but it's just, it really does hurt my eyes, so forgive me if I don't. I'm going to press my nose wheel steering button on my HOTAS, and you can see that ARNWS is active. That means we have nose wheel control with the rudder pedals. Going to release our parking brake by setting it back to the anti-skid position. That disengages it, and now just apply gentle power, get rolling, and we're going to be looking for about 15 knots taxi speed. You want to stay between 20 or under 20 or so. Give some good authority. Whenever turning the aircraft, you want to try to stay below 10 knots. And you know what I did forget to do? Shame on me. I did not set my radio to Cobaletti. Yeah, alright, too late. I made them mad already. They're not talking to me anymore. Alright, so let's go ahead and taxi out. Do taxi out to the left. Whoa, got a little fast, and this is why you don't taxi that fast, so forgive me. That was, I just got done telling you guys, stay under 10 knots. And you know what? This is probably one of the biggest problems, I know I've said it before, with not flying in VR. So I do all my recordings in Track IR. Makes it easier to do the recording, makes it easier for you guys to see what's going on, etc., etc. But I fly primarily in VR. You know, VR is where it's at, and I would say the two biggest reasons is because first off is your sense of speed is incredible. Like you can really tell when you're starting to cook down the runway or cook around the corner or whatever. And then obviously the number one hands down benefit, all graphics, everything set aside, is depth perception. The depth perception is so nice, and it makes things like landing and air-to-air refueling so much easier because of that. Alright, so we're just going to keep on taxiing out to the runway here. Once we get out to the runway, we'll set our position lights to the steady position. We'll engage our radar altimeter and engage our probe heat. And be ready to get on down the runway. Now, one of the things that you guys want to check is your takeoff speed. Now, there is a takeoff speed chart, I believe, in the documentation, as well as the Chuck's tutorial guide that I use a lot. It's got a lot of really great references in there. For the average simmer like you and I. For those of you who fly like me, I guess you should say, not assuming that everyone's like me. Gosh, I sound so like insecure, don't I? Anyway, I have insecurity issues. Anyway, so there's a cool chart in there, and we are sitting at about 32,000 pounds right now, so we'll be looking at a takeoff speed of approximately 170 knots, if memory serves. And so we will be taking off max power because we have a heavy load, okay, when we're in the Cat 3 configuration. If you were in a light air-to-air configuration, you would only be rolling with mil power. And remember, mill power is as fast as you can go without lighting the afterburner. Max power is exactly what it sounds like. We're going to light this baby up and cook some hot dogs behind us. Alright, let's get her down to 10 knots like we're supposed to. And the reason why you don't want to make a turn above 10 knots, guys, is she will absolutely tip. She's got a really narrow wheelbase. And so when you get a lot of weight on those wings, she'll take a dive. So don't take that lightly, please. She will absolutely scrape the ground and roll on you. Alright, so we are sitting here. We'll go ahead and re-engage our parking brake for a second. Let's engage our probe heat. We're going to set our position lights to steady for takeoff. Radar altimeter to the on position, forward position. And I think we are ready to rock and roll. Oh, nope, the ejection seat. Always check your bit panel before you guys get rolling. And let's see here. I think the last thing we'll do is go ahead and contact Kobaletti and request our takeoff and set our altimeter. Maybe they don't want to talk to me. Oh, you know what? I should probably set it in the comm. Sorry, I set it on the backup radio. 26200. And hit enter. Let's try that again. There we go. Alright, so we're looking for an altimeter of 29086. So we're going to come down here. We're going to roll this wheel here until that reads 29086. And what this does, it sets the altitude for the barometric pressure. Notice that the altimeter is changing. So it's pretty important that you have the correct altitude in your altimeter. And now we can know that ground level for us is about 10 feet. That's what it looks like. That's kind of impressive there. Or actually, sorry, we can catch you here. Sorry, it's 65 feet. I don't know what the hell I was thinking there. Gosh, I'm just on a roll lately. Maybe I should just give up altogether. Alright, so let's release the parking brake. I'm just kidding, by the way. I don't quit that easy. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and taxi out. Get onto the piano keys here. Start giving us a turn. I got going too fast, I can already tell. Yep, I did. And I took her a little too far. My rudder pedals are a little far away from my feet today. I don't know why. And I've been too lazy to crawl under the desk and move them. Alright, so we are set here. The next thing we're going to do is power up to 90%. Once we get 90%, we'll go brakes off, increase to mill. Oop, mill's increased. Now we're going to go full throttle. Airspeed alive, nose wheel steering off. Nose wheel steering off should definitely be off at about 60 knots, or 70 knots, excuse me. Approaching 150 knots, pulling back on the stick, looking for 8 to 10 degrees. Positive rate, wheels up. Looking for that 8-degree mark. Now she's going to bounce as the wheels come up because we're going to get more authority in the control. So she may jerk on you for a second. Passing 350 knots, coming off the afterburner. Still accelerating. Her power to rate ratio is phenomenal. Even with a heavy load, you know, she'll take the heck off on you guys. So watch your airspeed. She will absolutely just go screaming to the stars. Fun little bird. It really is. Alright, guys. From this point, I would continue my climb till about 5,000 feet and then start turning to my navigation. Alright, I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you enjoy the many more that are to come for the F-16. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep doing things the way we did with the F-18, so stay tuned, and there's a lot more to come. I'm in a toss-up right now on which one I want to do next. It's either going to be navigation, teaching us how to fly around once we're up, or immediately move into the landings. And the landings has the other dilemma. It's either overhead brakes, straight in approach for our new, people who are new, if you want to practice the straight in, or the overhead brake. I haven't decided which one I'm going to do, or both. We'll see what happens. But anyways, regardless, the next tutorial we will do the stored heading alignment, which only takes about 2 minutes, so much nicer. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Take care, folks.